I have heard from medical experts, these are the things we know that prevent you from speaking moistly. Speaking moistly. Keep 2 meters apart. 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 Speaking moistly. Oh, what a terrible image.
All right, word up. We're here back. Angry Beaver Radio. We've got our good friend special. It's Protocols of the Elders of COVID. This is a COVID-19 coronavirus and 5G. We've got security measures, lockdowns, military, on the streets. You risk fine or imprisonment. Are you going to wear a mask or not? On the bright side, there's no chemtrails in sight, but we've got a huge show lined up. Mike, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line, Daniel. How are you, everybody?
Yeah, that's good to hear you. And there's a few other stories we can get into. The Russian imperial movement added to the terror watch list. We can get into the Venezuelan military and going to war against the or Venezuelan Navy, I guess, against the RCGS Resolute, a cruise ship. I can't believe there's still cruise ships out in the water. But how are you doing with all the lockdowns and everything, Mike?
Well, they're still warning people to stay their distance of 2 meters and all that kind of stuff. All the park facilities are basically closed, and but you can walk around and all that kind of stuff too, right? Or go out cycling, which I like to do once in a while, and but you just got to be look over your shoulder because they have law enforcement out there, the bylaw officers.
Yeah, they said that Toronto is going to be a bylaw blitz this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they'll be going everywhere. I assume they're probably in High Park because they have the cherry blossom trees going.
Yeah, they do that, and they have that already in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And people are out just normal. Everybody's wearing masks and all that kind of stuff, but people are still, doing what they normally do.
In Japan, you mean?
In Japan, yeah.
Well, what about here? Are you seeing many masks out on, or?
I do see quite a bit, and I see a few people that are not wearing them, and all I can say to the people wearing masks, if you're scared, stay home.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it for everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there is a chance we really got fooled here with because I thought it could have been a bioweapon released from a biolab. If you listen to some of our old shows. But it doesn't seem like we've got a really lethal weapon here. If it was a weapon, I don't know if it was really lethal here.
Yeah.
When you've got the regular flu is more deadly than.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But this is a little bit different. So people react to it differently. Well, the flu, people react differently with that anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the old saying, only the strong will survive type of thing. You know?
Yeah, I did think that this was something different than H1N1 though, because we had all those H1N1 and the swine flu, but really we're getting our numbers right now are lower than H1N1. So. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, for sure. But then
there's no shutdowns.
Yeah, you got to read in between the lines. Is like they're taking everybody and painting them with the same brush. Oh, everybody's got it, so they just boost the numbers up. That's the problem. Even if you died of something else, they put you down as COVID-19.
Yeah, that's why I think COVID-19. There's a chance it doesn't even exist now. That's why I've come to that possibility.
Yeah.
Because really, China didn't really spread there either, and even them, they only had a few thousand died, and that's probably less than the normal flu would get.
Yeah. And then also, you didn't ever hear anything about up in Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hear anything about them having the problem.
No, because there's huge areas of China that were never shut down for anything, so they've always been at work.
Yeah. Well, I've seen videos of China, even in Hunan, is basically going back to normal.
Yeah. And what about Sweden too? It seems like they haven't done a lockdown.
No, they haven't done a lockdown either, but they still have their problems. Because
Yeah.
a lot of places maybe they open up a little bit too soon,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of a spike in the numbers, and then you got to go back again.
Yeah. I don't
That-
even know if I trust the numbers. They have a new projection in Canada. It says between 11,000 and 300,000 could die. So how do you have such a huge range between?
yeah, I know it.
And then with the testing, I don't know if they really have it because first you have to believe that they have Corona or COVID-19 mass like mapped on the
Yeah.
chart. And then they
Uh-huh.
compare what they get the sample from a person, and they compare it, and as long as enough lines match the sample they have, then they say it's a positive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it takes a leap of faith. That's the way I see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
But
the
some of them,
virus I'm not worried about, but all the other stuff is more troubling, like the
yeah,
vaccine and lockdown,
yeah, it's more dangerous. You know.
fines, imprisonment. These are the
Yeah,
protocols we have of COVID.
yeah, yeah.
We've
I
got
look.
Riverside County in California requires everyone to wear a mask outdoors.
Yeah,
And the most hardcore I think I've seen is Russia. There's a law you risk 7 years imprisonment for not if you violate quarantine.
yeah. That's true. Yeah. Well, they got different protocols over there.
Some of these might be for people that are testing positive because that's a true quarantine when you're actually sick and then you have to stay in.
Yeah, because I have a neighbor, a young guy. I
Mhm.
haven't seen him in a while, and I asked him, "Well, where have you been?" He says, "I've been in quarantine."
Oh
Really?
no.
Why? I said, "Well, they told us that we had to be 2 weeks in quarantine."
Huh. Did he just get back from a trip or did he test positive?
No, no positive. They just, when the government said you got to be in quarantine, everybody.
Oh no.
So
Some people just stayed in.
yeah, he just stayed in, and I questioned him
Oh
why.
no.
Are you sick? And he said, "No."
Oh no.
Yeah, so there are people out there like that, Daniel. You know that.
Yeah, but
It's
that's a scam because I don't know if they realize how that's actually hurts your immune system. The less interactions you have with the nature and stuff and the public, and then
yeah,
you're
that's
gonna
what
have a weak immune system.
I was listening to Donald Trump live, but but a couple hours ago or an hour ago or something like that, and he was telling us about that. He's saying, staying inside is not healthy either. You can die.
Yeah, that's the state we're at. That's why he's got to reopen up the country. Because once he reopens, then other countries will follow. Canada will be far behind, but
Yeah,
eventually we'd have to open because they'd say, why are we still closed when we have less people sick than a place that's
yeah,
open? So
yeah. Then he
that's why it's
mentioned,
going to be a big one.
yeah, then he mentioned basically, he says this is going to be the biggest decision of his, of his presidency,
Yeah,
whether to
when
keep it locked down or to actually open up.
when to reopen, and I'm sure it was a big decision to close it in the first place too, because it's
Yeah,
unprecedented, never been done.
you've never, yeah. In my lifetime, I've never been in this situation.
He didn't have to do it, but then I'm sure they would have made these numbers even higher if he didn't do it.
Yeah, he said if I would have been like Sweden or other countries to actually open a little bit sooner, he said there would have been more deaths.
Yeah,
So he
but even
basically
I think he's misinformed on Sweden because I don't even think they have that many deaths. They've got millions of people and they've only had 700 or something deaths. It's not. It's like
yeah,
the flu, you get more.
yeah. Well, the United
I guess
States got,
maybe it's just in a short time.
yeah, well, it's
And then
350 million in the U.S. People.
yeah, and then they've got like 10,000 deaths or something. It's not even
Oh,
that many. That's where it's not like all the projections. I did think it was a possibility. That's back when I thought it was like a bioweapon and that the lockdown. I thought the lockdown was a real thing. Like I thought that they we're really afraid that there's something really lethal out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But because it's never hit, like it was supposed to hit within the first 2 weeks, and because it never hit, then I don't think it's hard to believe it would keep increasing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Del Bigtree was asking one of the doctors, basically, the topic of his interview was like, do the ventilators kill people?
Yeah, they do. That's why it's like a death sentence. That's the whole thing with the ventilators. It's very few people get off once you get put on.
Yeah, yeah. And he basically, the doctors were basically saying it's better to give them direct oxygen, like you put it through your nose and stuff like that, because that makes your lungs breathe normally, right? But the ventilators, it puts the air in there and it does it for you, which is not good.
Yeah, because then when they try to take you off, it's like you can't breathe anymore because you lose your lung muscle, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Like
that's where it's like a ventilator is a real dangerous thing. That's where they do call for more ventilators. Like Trudeau said, they're going to have 30,000 more ventilators for Canada.
Yeah.
But then what they should do, I was thinking they should keep a running tab so that when they hook you up to the ventilator, you know how many people have died on this ventilator right before you.
Yeah.
And then, because you'd want to have the machine, because there's the power in the machine, you'd want to have the one machine where some people have lived rather than one where it's like everyone have died. And then you get a percentage each machine. And then if too many people have died on it, then you could retire the machine, say it was a bad one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they're going to have a lot of ventilators because they've got all these car manufacturers doing ventilators and stuff.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah.
Masks, they're going to have millions of, and
Millions of masks. Yeah.
and then once they do the vaccine, they're going to have multiple doses, I think. So.
Yeah, I don't know even know why he's bringing that up. I thought he'd know better than to bring vaccines up. I guess he figures that the people that he's got in that area of expertise are going to bring out a vaccine that's going to do the cure all.
Yeah, that's a Bill Gates plan, but the thing is that hopefully they just don't make it mandatory, because once they do that, then we'll have to hit the streets again of Toronto truth seekers and bring out the don't get the shot.
But Donald Trump has his name is Fauci or Fauci.
Yeah, Fauci's the guy from Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's actually in with Bill Gates Foundation.
Yeah, I heard that, and then Bill Gates has been financing his, and then there's even a Fauci Foundation, I think that Bill Gates has been funding it.
Yeah.
So and they're all in it.
And Ron Paul has been having something to say about him, saying they should fire him because of what he's saying and what he's been doing.
Yeah, I could see that, but then it's treading a dangerous line if you're the president, because then they would say you're anti-science, you're anti-medicine, and so right now he's just been following all of Fauci's advice. I think that's where he called their bluff. They weren't expecting him to do the lockdown and follow the advice, and they would hold it against him, saying that he's putting lives at risk and all this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's either they tricked him into doing it, or the worst scenario would be that he's actually in with the New World Order, and that it's like a facade. But hopefully that's just an outside chance. I think it's more likely they tricked him into it.
Probably, yeah. But I don't think.
And it's a calculation, because he knew he would lose the election if they were saying he killed people and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Not like over here with Trudeau. What he's he's doing it for political purposes. He's playing political politics with our lives.
And then I think he might be having issues with his wife too, because there was always the rumors that she had the affair with Idris Elba, and that she gave him the COVID. That's how they both had the COVID, right? And and then she hasn't been seen since, and it's been like over a month now. So we'll see if there's any pictures of her or whatever. There's all kinds of rumors that they're having fights, and
Yeah, yeah, because I've seen Trudeau. I think in a picture of him with I guess
Ankle
alcohol in
monitor?
the bag, something like that.
The ankle bracelet picture, you mean?
No, no, not the ankle bracelet.
Ah,
He's been drinking.
yeah, I think so too. He doesn't seem quite himself, and he just seems sometimes he seems too happy too when he's supposed to be in a serious part for the nation. He's just like at the front steps, and he's gone in longer than everyone else has been. Because I think his quarantine started a few days before they locked down Canada, so he's been almost a month. But he
Yeah,
did
exactly.
mention that tomorrow he's coming out. He's finally breaking the isolation, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
back to Ottawa for Parliament for a emergency session.
Or maybe his wife kicked him outside because he's getting on her nerves.
A Saturday session. Well, yeah, but it sounds more like she left and went to the cottage in Quebec, and then
Right.
stuck there at the house. Even though this house they call a cottage, but that's just because they're trying to get the other one renovated.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
So it's a big. He's still in a big house, but I don't know if the kids were ever there or the wife was ever there because there was never any pictures of them there, and somehow they got to leave while Trudeau was still apparently in the house with someone that had the virus. So whether
Oh,
he's been having an affair as well or who knows?
yeah,
It,
I can imagine.
it's all a mystery.
It is a mystery, isn't it?
It's
Isn't it?
almost a mystery, the same mystery as who Dr. Tam really is, because no one really knows who Dr. Tam is.
Yeah, yeah,
They seem to have scrubbed because I did some research. Like on Wikipedia, you can hardly get anything on her bio. It's
yeah,
pretty much blank. It's empty, except they
yeah,
say that she was born in Hong Kong or something. But other than
yeah,
that, you don't get much. And
yeah.
then I
That's
searched a
yeah,
few other places, but there's no real place where she talks about her past or history or story or anything.
yeah. I wonder why. Wonder
Well,
why.
there's also the theories there that she would. There was one that she had been trans, that she's not, and then I guess because she has the Adam's apple.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
So there's that theory, but and then there is a picture I've seen of a Wikipedia page where it says it, but then maybe either they changed it or you know how there can be like fake editors and then they switch it for a few hours and then it goes back and
right. Yeah, yeah.
that's why you can't trust Wikipedia. It's almost like they're the one thing they do say though is that she's a WHO insider. So basically all the stuff Canada's going through is because of WHO,
Yeah, that's where they get all their information from.
World Health Organizations, and they're run by the Ethiopian despot, the
Hmm.
Tedros
Yeah.
Andros, or whatever his name. He's a
Yeah.
he's been freaking out now over Taiwan, so that's where.
Oh.
He said that Taiwan has organized a state-sponsored assassination attempts against him and stuff, death threats,
Oh yeah.
and but I'm sure he gets those all day just by being the head of the World Health Organization because there's a lot of the people like don't really trust World Health.
No, we used to call them World Homicidal Organization.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it seems like. And then even he did some speech about how go along with it. Don't play politics or we'll send you more body bags or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, you
if
got like yeah, you got like 680 News, and you got all these other news outlets that they go by whatever World Health Organization says.
yeah,
That's
so
all they.
the other one Canada has announced is that the RCMP will now begin visiting homes to make sure that people that have done the 2-week lockdown, people getting back from vacation or
Right.
out of the country, or I guess anyone that tests positive. So that's the start of the police state too, because then they're actually going door to door now and checking if you're there.
I didn't I hear that if anybody tests positive, they're taking their loved ones out of the
Oh
house.
no!
That's what I heard.
Oh no!
They can come right into your house, knock. I don't know if they'll knock on your door, but anyway, they'll come and take whoever's infected, take them out.
Yeah, they'll probably break the door of the batting room.
Yeah, but I mean, I would,
And then once they take everyone out, then they'll board it up like they did in Wuhan, where they weld people in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my grandfather, my dad's side, he worked for the RCMP in the 1920s.
Oh wow, they could have been rounding people up back then too for different reasons. Of this
Yeah, that was just
prohibition era.
after. Yeah, that was just after they called them before the Northwest Mounted.
Mhm.
Then they changed it over to what we have today. So, but he
Well,
made.
was he stationed near the border? Because he would have had to deal with all the bootleggers.
I think it was out west.
Ah, yeah, but that's more rough and tumble out there because they didn't have cities and stuff formed. They were just like villages.
Yeah, villages. Yeah, for sure. Seen something like some of his. Well, I do have an old picture of him, in uniform,
Ah,
and
it's
some
like the
old
old-fashioned Mountie, the red uniform.
red uniform and stuff like that too, right? And some black and white photographs of him beside his horse that he had.
Ah,
Yeah,
so that's a true Mountie when you have a horse.
yeah, exactly, yeah, for sure. But I think back then, like the Mounties were a real good group at the time, but now they've become so corrupt now. Yeah, they've totally changed.
Hmm. Yeah, well, there was a time where they were when they were formed, where their job was to put the natives on the reserves. That part where they would have been the bad guys in that area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you put everyone on the reserves. That's basically you're taking the freedoms away, and I
Mhm.
guess that is a lot like what everyone is now. We're now basically on lockdown.
Yes, we are house arrest if you want to get technical.
But I guess on the bright side, we're seeing a lower carbon emissions. There's less
Yeah,
pollution.
but like less cars. Boy, and businesses are all shut down, so you don't get the runoff of smokestacks and everything like that. I was
Yeah.
looking out the window, and I can see the CN Tower, and I could see it beautifully, perfect.
Wow. I guess there's no chemtrails either. Then there's no
Um,
streaks.
well, they for I think almost 2 weeks they didn't chemtrail.
Wow.
2 weeks, I think almost 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
then about a few days ago, I noticed them chemtrailing again for at least 2 days, and then end up stopping again.
I guess the pilots were observing a bit of self-isolation or COVID protocols
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
few weeks, and then they got back into it.
yeah. So, but I'm basically saying, how come those flights are able to fly, but they don't want domestic flights flying too much? But they're exempt. How come they're exempt?
So you're gonna have to hop on a chemtrail plane if you want to take a trip.
Well, they got no windows in it. How can I see around? I mean, come on. That's a very boring flight, you know.
But you could watch the tank empty out. Maybe you see the liquid come out of the tank, whatever they're spraying.
Do I have to wear a
that day.
mask?
Well, they're going to be spraying from above, but they're also going to be spraying street level. Once they start those like the spray trucks or the people walking around with the big suits with the spray pack on their back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That'll be part of the reopening. That's where they're going to reopen and get everyone back.
Are they going to have a marching band and everything like that going?
No, it won't truly happen for about 18 months, 2 years, maybe 5 years, whenever they get a vaccine going.
That's what Trudeau said.
Yeah, that means he's following the Gates protocol. He's following the World Health.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That is the script from Event 201, though, because it doesn't end till they find the vaccine.
Yeah. But
So
then
basically they followed the script from Event 201. They just didn't have Event 201 is like based on something real, and
right.
this hasn't quite happened. Like it hasn't happened where it's more extreme than different other outbreaks.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And they
there's
have,
the other key part is the movie Contagion too, because they've put that up
yeah,
everywhere. Even
true,
though
yeah,
it's a 2011 movie, it's basically that movie is like as if H1N1 had been real. They made it right after H1N1 because no one
yeah,
really believed it was a real thing.
that's right, yeah, yeah,
And then they followed the script for that as well with this, but then they just don't. The only thing they don't have is the metric for the people, the sick people and the dying people.
right, yeah,
They don't quite have the numbers, even though I know they say there's over 1 million worldwide that have it.
yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
That number though doesn't come down. It only once you have tested positive once for COVID, and you could have like anything. Who knows how the test works? Then your
Yeah,
number stays up there. I don't think it ever is going to decrease.
yeah. Hmm.
It'll
But then,
always be over 1 million.
then they have Christine Elliott there as well, the phony flu shot recipient.
And she's running the health of Ontario, Ontario healthcare.
Oh my goodness.
Well, what they're calling them is um, something corona snitchers, coronavirus snitchers. Well, they're saying people are calling 311 to report.
Yes, yeah,
If you're nervous.
exactly, yeah.
So they're basically using the population to spy.
Oh, for sure. They spy on your neighbor. You got to be careful.
Yeah, and they do have some big numbers for fines. And then I did see in Ottawa they have $880 someone got fined for walking a dog.
And nobody around?
Didn't sound like it, but apparently the park had signs saying closed, which the guy
Oh,
said he didn't see when he walked in. So
oh yeah. Well, there, yeah, yeah. There you go.
so you can't go into a closed park, I guess.
Most of our local parks here are basically open. The only thing that are taped off are the are all the teeter totters and all the equipment that the kids are supposed to go on, but that's all been blocked off. But you can walk around, and the soccer fields are open, and I've seen kids out there, kicking the ball around and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
so they're all in line to get ticketed. They're all in line to get fined.
yeah. I heard that one couple, I forget where it was, one of the law officers came up to them, and they were just two sitting together, and they both lived together, and they told them they have to be 6 feet apart.
Wow.
You can't sit together like that. But we live in the same house. Sorry.
Wow. That's
Wasn't
the
bad.
problem with going out in public now. They want you they want you in your own house. Maybe you'd be lucky if you have a balcony or a backyard, front porch.
Yeah. Well, I have a balcony, which when it's sunny out, I've already got a suntan already.
Ah, so you did some sunbathing out there.
Yeah, exactly. Gathering up my vitamin D so I can be safe for the rest of the summer, because I know we'll probably end up being in for quite a while.
Yeah, but it'll be ridiculous if U.S. comes back like on May 1st or some Illuminati
Yeah.
date.
Yeah, a friend of mine just messaged me, and he said that we're going to be back open by May 1st.
And he's thinking that for Canada or the U.S.?
I don't know. I'll have to check with him later. He's one of he's a co-worker at McDonald's when I was there.
Ah.
Yeah, and he's always asking me questions. What do you think they're going to do? What do you blah, 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 blah. And I say, here, watch the video.
Well, May 1st, I could see them reopening just because it is a Illuminati calendar day, because it's the International Day of the Worker. It's the World Communist Day.
Yeah, exactly.
May Day,
yeah.
they call it.
May Day, yeah.
But then May 2nd is also a possibility because that was Holy Beltane. Remember, that's the high on the witchcraft calendar. It's the highest date.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But then I also think May 4th is an important day, even though they have it as like a Star Wars day. May the Force be with you or whatever. May the 4th.
Yeah.
But I think it's also the Illuminati was May the 4th founded. So
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
so either any one of those dates, I could see a possibility of a return,
Yeah.
a reopening.
Yeah.
The workers of the world unite.
Yeah, what I was thinking about with the United States, or even here in Canada, when you look at different, like ours, like provinces, you find out which ones have the lowest, death rate denominators, and find out, okay, they have a very low death rate, so we'll open them up first and work our way to different provinces. And by that time, hopefully, when you get up to the provinces that have the most death rates or whatever, then you open them up a little bit later instead of doing it all at one time.
Yeah, they could do that.
That's what I would.
And then, as bad as it is here, it could always be worse. Because have you seen these videos in India where the police are going around hitting people with sticks and stuff? And
Oh yeah, I saw a guy riding a motorcycle. The cop was just coming whacking him with the stick.
Yeah, that's so nuts. So it could always be worse. And then there's, have you seen any military on the streets? Because I think it was Joe Warmington even put out the article about military being on the roads.
Yeah, I saw a video where the military were talking about all the stuff that they're maybe doing, like flood relief. I don't know what the flood relief they're talking about. We don't have any flood relief right now.
Yeah, we haven't had many rainy days. Maybe it's somewhere else in Canada, because that's what they're saying is in Canada, the Emergency Measures Act would put Trudeau as the head of like everything, and would put the military running this stuff. But
yeah,
it might not happen, because they did say that the premiers are against it, at least, because I guess it takes their power away.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
But that's why it's a mystery what they're going to really be voting on tomorrow. Because they've already got some economic thing in place where they say already 6 million Canadians have got applied for their CERB, I think they call it, where it's a $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, if that number keeps growing, that's going to be a lot of money going.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of money to throw around anyway. I mean, like, we're cash strapped for everything. We're in debt. Yeah. We're heavily in debt. How can you have all this money floating around all the time just to do what you want to do? That makes sense.
Let's see what it is.
The military. Yeah, the military basically said that we're not here for law enforcement.
Yeah,
that's what they said. So is that just to get you to feel you feel relieved, and all of a sudden, boom, they're gonna come into the streets and walk up and down the streets and make sure you're in your homes.
It looks like 1.2 billion would be the cost just for the month for. That's why you could see the debt going wild, and then they're gonna, when that happens, they raise taxes with everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and we already know prices will be going up.
Yeah, but at least with me, I know that I got my pension coming in June, so because I did this back in December. Went to Service Canada, and we did all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. But the funny thing is, you have whatever is down on that paper, you have to repeat to the person behind the desk, right? Because basically you're under oath, like you're in a courtroom, you're under oath. And you got to make sure that you say every single word properly, and you're going to make sure everything is down properly.
Yeah. That's where the people could be getting in trouble too, that do the CRB, that don't already have a job or whatever, where you can't prove it, because they're saying that next year at tax time, that's when they're going to check to make sure people didn't game the system or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a similar thing like what you're dealing with, where you can't really. There's no real free money. They're going to get you one way or another.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But you're under oath. I mean, like, how much money are they going to give you? $800-900, and you got to be under oath just for that. I could see like $100,000 or up. I could see that, but I mean, like, come on, $800 or $900. I don't know. They haven't basically said how much I'm going to be getting anyway, right? So it's going to be a combination of that and the CPP, which I'm getting already.
Ah,
So that'll be combined together, right?
yeah.
So that'll be June 1st.
Yeah, that's good. But then, as long as Canada doesn't go completely broke, because once that happens, then all that's gone too. At least the CPP part.
Yeah, yeah. They'll come for your old age pension and take it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that.
And then they open up the camps, work camps, and then make some tent cities. Maybe everyone can move in.
Yeah. I like my camp the way it is. I like my own bed. I can look out the window. I just see a few planes coming in outside already.
Wow. So those could just be the arrivals from Wuhan because they've reopened flights, I think.
Yeah, there was WestJet I saw, Air Canada, and FedEx.
FedEx, yeah, they got to bring some packages.
Yeah.
Like a castaway scene.
Castaway scene, exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting that an animal has now tested positive. Did you hear about Nadia the tiger, a Brooklyn Zoo tiger?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you haven't seen any other animals with it?
I didn't think that it would go from animal to animal. I'm confused. Then maybe it is a bioweapon. If it's a bioweapon, you can go from any animal to another, human to animal, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, if it even is a thing, because maybe it's just a animal was coughing or something, and they thought, who knows?
Yeah.
Because the other theory, have you heard this? A mass-pychogenic illness? Have you ever heard of mass-pychogenic illness?
That's an interesting thing to look up.
Yeah, it is interesting because it's basically as if people can imagine a disease and then it happens. It's like it's all in your mind, but you have physical symptoms.
Yes,
and they do, even in the Wikipedia page on it, it does say one of the risk factors is intense media coverage. We've all been having that. It's like basically every channel you go to, it's on coronavirus.
Exactly. I turn on the radio. Oh, that's all I could see. COVID-19.
So we don't know the percentage of people that have tested positive that it's just a mass-pychogenic illness, that they've created it in their own mind, and then their body starts showing it.
Maybe those are the ones that people that are wearing masks all over the place.
Yeah, because you know that it's like a mass hysteria. They're into the more you get into it, and that, I guess that is the one benefit of them not showing really sick people and stuff over, because the more they do that, the more people think they have it, and they act like what they see.
But then they target you and me, the people that don't even have it. Period. We have to we have to stay away from people because we might infect somebody. They're painting everybody with the same brush,
In the history of it, they bring it back to the Middle Ages. I guess when the Black Plague was going, they had dancing manias, where people would just be dancing and like, who knows what they were like.
Yeah, really.
They call it motor hysteria because you couldn't control your motors, and then they also refer to it as like demonic possession.
Right.
But
maybe this is what this is.
Yeah, because when you look at the actual symptoms they have, it's all the ones that you put in with this COVID, with a headache, dizziness, nausea, cramps, coughing, fatigue, sore throat, hyperventilating, watery eyes, chest pain, vomiting, anxiety, diarrhea, rash, trouble with vision, itching. The only one they don't have is the one where they say you lose your sense of smell and taste.
Yeah, that's true. That's next on the list.
Yeah. They just might not add it to the list.
No, probably not. No. they don't want to scare people totally,
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a possible. It's just more of a theory. We still don't really know what's happening here, but the main theory is that this will end with the vaccine, and that there's possibly that the microchip could be a quantum dot tattoo that gets into your skin, and then that's going to hold your ID 2020, your vaccination record.
Yeah. So that's what Trudeau and his government is striving for.
Yeah, it's a globalist plot. So we'll have to see. This is where it could become back to street actions, where we have to get posters up, flyers out, and try to warn people what's going on here.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. So that's why I like talking to people. I talk to people outside, and I tell them what's on their mind. Are you afraid of what's going on, and all this kind of stuff? And there are people that are. I've talked to one lady. She knows about David Icke and all that kind of stuff. I was talking to her at the dollar store just up the road here, and you're talking for about 10, 15 minutes about the issues and stuff like that too, right? So she believes the same thing that I'm believing in, or that we actually agree on.
Huh. Yeah, that's how you have to do it. That's waking minds. You're trying to wake people up, trying to, and then if the people already know stuff, then they're already looking for someone else they can talk to. Because other people are closed-minded. They won't listen to this.
Oh no, I know. Sometimes if I'm cycling or whatever, or sitting down on a bench, instead of walking, well, fairly close to me, but they'll sort of make like a half moon circle around me and all this kind of stuff. That's what they'll do.
Huh. That's interesting. Well,
Oh, yeah.
this would have been the time. It's too bad we don't have like Derek Soberall and your brother Mark, and we've lost truth seekers, because this is going to be when we need the most. It'll be all hands on deck.
Oh, yeah. It'll be we did a lot about the H1N1, but this one here is like going right out of the ballpark.
Yeah, but that's the trouble, is that we can't. They haven't really opened stuff, so it's like we can't do a street action now. There's no one out there.
Yeah, unless we're about 6 feet apart from each other.
We could get a hockey stick and put a flyer on the end, and then you have to grab it from the end of the hockey stick.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I like that. But they'll probably try to shut you down on that too, like they did when we had the table. You need a permit to do that. You need a permit. You got to have that hockey stick on wheels.
Yeah, so that's what they'll definitely be increasing the amount of bylaw enforcement, because that's who we had to deal with last time, was bylaw enforcement.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
for not having wheels on the table, and then now those guys are the guys that are running all the ticketing for people that aren't.
Yeah, they just want to get those guys out of sitting at home doing nothing. Get them out, put them on the street.
They're the enforcement, COVID enforcement for the COVID protocols.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. Yeah, for sure. They're the government's boots on the ground.
Yeah. And so we have to trust the brain trust is going to get us through this.
Yeah, we gotta keep strong and stuff like that, and just move forward on this, and try to be positive. Think of hopefully this will end in the very near future, because summer's coming and it's going to be nice and warm and sunny, and the people that were actually going for staying at home and being quarantined, they're going to start to get pissed off and say, hey, wait a minute, I want to be able to have a barbecue with my neighbors, my friends. Now I can't do it. They're going to be pissed off. I could tell you that.
Well, you can do it through Skype. You're just going to have to give them a call. You can just describe how the barbecue smells.
Yeah, just pretend smoke going up into the air, have chicken or
let them hear the sizzle.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Trudeau did say that he wants people for Easter to do it through Skype. You can be together, but as long as it's through Skype for families.
Yeah, yeah.
But then he clarified that he's going to go spend Easter with his family, so he's going to be able to cross the border from Ontario to Quebec, which they've blocked off for regular people.
Right.
But Prime Minister gets special privilege because he was able to get through this whole thing without ever having to take the test, even though he's been on quarantine two quarantines in a row.
Right. Yes. Right. Well, look at the Del Bigtree. He drove through an area to get tested for COVID-19
Ah,
because he wanted to try to find out what's it like, what's
like a
their
drive-through
protocol.
test, because I heard they have those drive-through tests.
Yeah. So he had the drive-through test, and I don't know if he was positive or negative, but just by the look on his face afterwards, like he sort of like smiling. So I think it was negative. So
Yeah, because
right.
usually people talk about how it hurts, but maybe they have the new test now that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So he might have got that one.
probably. Yeah. Well,
And well,
Montreal.
he is the guy that made Vaxxed, which was Vaxxed was a good movie to watch on this.
Yeah. Did he? Did he go to? Let's see, Patrick White. He did. He did an interview with Patrick White or whatever.
Yeah, he might have. And but when Conspiracy Culture did the screening for Vaxxed, it was the Andrew Wakefield.
Oh,
That,
Andrew. Right.
that was like the main character in Vaxxed, and then Del Bigtree was like the director of it, I think, director
Right.
producer. And
Yeah.
he had actually worked on the show The Doctors before that, so he does have medical knowledge.
Yes, he does. Yeah. I listened to him, and he sounds really, really truthful, and he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'd recommend check out Del Bigtree, check out the movie Vaxxed, check out the old Toronto Truth Seekers videos on H1N1 if you want to know the agenda. This is a new world order here.
Yep.
But the other related topic is 5G, because you'll see a lot of stories trying to link this all to 5G, and that people collapsing in the street is from lack of oxygen and 5G, and you're seeing towers being burnt in England, 5G.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're
And
getting
Trump.
some well, you could call it activist, but it does seem more like like an anarchist move. It seems almost like an Antifa type move where you burn down the towers.
And also President Trump actually banned the Hawaii 5G.
Oh wow,
Banned that.
that's interesting. If Hawaii can stay safe,
Yeah. So he
because
banned
it's an unknown dangers with 5G.
Yeah, military grade. Yeah.
And it would be like a microwave of the whole Earth, basically.
Yeah. It's like when I remember back in the G20 days, they had the big sound cannons and stuff like that.
Yeah, the same waves they say for the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
So that, and then there was one clip I saw, I think it might have been Australia, where a guy that used to work for one of the phone companies that got some kind of tank, and he was taking down he was ramming it right into these poles, like he did like a bunch of them, over a dozen towers he took down.
Yeah, but that costs money, doing things like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was recent though. It might have been less recent. The England or the UK ones, I'm pretty sure are recent.
Yeah.
Some of those fires, because a lot of people want to put COVID-19 as a 5G thing, effects of 5G.
Yeah, so it gives you the COVID-19 symptoms.
Yeah, and that is possible, because basically Wuhan was a test city for 5G. And now it's 5G is being turned on worldwide, so you could expect it.
Yeah, it'll be here in Canada, if not already.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with Toge Tote, who's a Mohawk Nation news guy. We've had him on Angry Beaver Radio before. he was telling me about the theories on how the Spanish flu was actually started when they first did the first radio waves. And basically they had put in that's when they put radios all around the world.
Right.
And then then that could have caused some of the Spanish flu, because everyone's cells are going to react differently to these. They're like invisible waves in the air, but
yeah,
some people just can't handle it. And that's the same thing now we're seeing with 5G as it turns on. Some people can't handle it.
yeah. Anybody with
That's why they're passing out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Passing out, headaches.
but they're blaming COVID-19 for that.
Yeah, so that's why it's perfect, because they can blame 5G. Anything 5G related can be COVID stuff, and then all the stuff with taking away everyone's civil liberties and rights can be blamed on COVID, people's health, and then also all the economic collapse can be blamed on COVID. They say it's unprecedented. We have to shut down.
Yeah, just like Gerald Celente, of Trends Journal, basically said COVID-19 is not the not the culprit. It's the governments that are creating the collapse of the economy.
Yeah, it's true. That's where we're at right now. Gerald Celente, though, I haven't seen that guy in a while. I didn't know he was still going.
Yeah, he's got some videos up on Facebook.
Huh.
You can check him out more.
Because he was trends research, so he'd know the trends.
Yeah, he says he knows the trends before it all happens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've chatted with him a couple of times, a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I said thanks for your all your great information, all that kind of stuff, and he said thanks for the kind words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another interesting guy is Martin Armstrong too. He's put out a lot of stuff on coronavirus, and he's got something going on in Supreme Court. But he's got some kind of supercomputer. He calls it Socrates, so he gets a lot of his forecasts. He's the forecaster, I guess.
Right.
Well, like Gerald Celente, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The other one that I was going to bring up is how U.S. has designated this Russian imperial movement as a white nationalist terror organization, where they highlighted. They said it's the first time in history they put a white national supremacist group as the terror watch list.
Yeah. So I guess color has no border now.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of African groups on there and a lot of Middle Eastern groups like ISIS type.
Yeah.
Al Qaeda. I do know, though, the first reference of terror in U.S. history was about the Mormons, actually, in Utah, when they tried to create their own nation out there.
Right.
So even back to in the 1800s, they've got terror scares.
Oh, sure they do. Yeah. History repeating itself again.
Yeah. This one is an interesting one, though, just because it is a Russian group. So it's almost that's why I wonder if then Trump can bring this up. If he's running in re-election, he can say, when they start saying that he's aligned with Russia or that he's white supremacist, he can say that he's the first one to ever put them on a terror list.
Yeah, really, yeah, for sure. So I guess so I guess during this election coming up over there in the United States, I guess it's Biden is the only one that's actually still going.
Yeah, well, they say Bernie dropped out, but then he did it in a sneaky way where he didn't endorse Biden, or he didn't give up his delegates. And he said that he wants to still keep collecting delegates.
Right.
So there's something going on there. There is a clip, too, where Trump says that he knows something. He says, I think I know something that you don't know, but he doesn't say it to a guy that asked him about Bernie.
Right.
So they could be up to something, or Bernie might know that Joe might not mentally be able to continue, so that he just gets elected.
Right.
Because if Bernie's considered the runner-up, then and Joe can't go through with it because he's got like a dementia or early onset Alzheimer's type of thing, then
yeah, because he's up in his
got Bernie waiting.
Yeah, he's up in his late 70s, I think. Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. So this is really his last try. That's why I'm surprised he didn't go all the way to the election, to the thing. But it sounds more like he's just going to not campaign, so then he can take it easy. And then when August comes around and they do the convention, then he can either be a key guy, like he gives his votes in or whatever, or there seems
Yeah,
to be something more to the story here.
yeah. But the only way you can do that to have a convention is to have the country open.
Yeah. So they might not, but we'll see. Hopefully they have it open by then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Someone was telling me Mississauga's done till the end of July. They've canceled all events.
yeah. So you're not going to have your May 2-4 weekend,
No.
your
Well,
Canada Day
Toronto
celebration.
was only till the end of June. That's why Mississauga, you've already got another month on us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Toronto, I could see them extending it because they did announce Caravana would be not happening this year. So.
Oh, people are going to be very upset of that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens that weekend. If everyone's, if no one's sick, but then they still tell people they can't have events, then that's when people will start turning.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when it'll make sense why they've got everything boarded up.
yeah, yeah. Well, Ethan Leeds sent out on Facebook about everybody getting out your city halls or whatever and start protesting and all that kind of stuff this weekend, actually.
Huh.
He says everybody all around the world, if you want to get in on this, go to your city halls and gather and protest or whatever, and let your voices be heard about
Yeah.
being quarantined and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'd say only do it though if you're brave, because it's this is dangerous times where you're gonna get a fine, you're gonna get ticketed, you're gonna get
Yeah,
moved along.
but it's a stupid thing, you know. Like we're supposed to be quarantined and being in house arrest, but they're letting prisoners out of the jails. Left, right, and center.
Because
I mean,
they need to clear the jails out to have room for all the law-abiding people to put them in.
oh, and look at Julian Assange. He doesn't qualify for that being released.
Yeah, which is sad because they say that he's got some kind of breathing problem. He's got some kind of lung condition. So he's at a heightened risk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they got to bring Assange out, and well, I don't know if Ecuador really was nice to him, because they sort of kicked him out of the embassy. They were nice to him for a long time, but
Well, they changed leaders, didn't they?
yeah. And then whoever the new leader is, they were playing up this COVID-19 thing too. They were saying you're going to start seeing dead bodies on the streets, and they really scared people there
Well, sure, that'll scare anybody inside to lock their doors.
for Ecuador.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone was telling me that Jamaica, the curfew is being moved to 3 p.m. It had been 8 p.m. you have to be in by. Now you have to be in by 3 p.m. 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I think is your only time allowed out.
But the sun is still up.
Yeah, so that's why it's nuts, because it's got to be it's got to be too hot to be inside too. A lot of places where you don't have air conditioning and stuff.
Yeah, and the Philippines as well. It's they're locked up too as well. You know.
Yeah, he head of the Philippines said that he would give permission to shoot people for breaking
Yeah,
COVID.
I know. I mentioned that to some of the people that I know that live over there, and I was saying, what? They were praising him before.
Wow.
You know, oh, he's such a nice guy. He's a good guy. Better than before. Blah blah blah. But this was probably before that. He said that he wants the military to go in and kill everybody who's actually opening a window or a door to come out to shoot people.
This is where they're all trying to one up each other on who's more authoritarian, I guess, now. And it's not a left versus right thing, because you see everyone's in on it. Putin, the Duterte in Philippines, and Trump, and then everyone, all the left countries.
Yeah, yeah.
The only one that I wonder about is Sweden, and then China seems to be open, and then North Korea, you don't really know.
No, you don't hear anything at all.
And because they would even have one of their borders with China, so Something's going on there.
Yeah, something is going on there. Yeah, for sure.
The other one that we were going to talk about was the Venezuela. Had you heard this story where Venezuela Navy got into an attack with the RCGS Resolute, an Antarctic cruise ship?
Say that fast 3 times.
A polar expedition cruise ship, they call it, polar. So it's made to break through ice. So I guess what happened was the Navy, Venezuelan Navy wanted to inspect the ship, but then the ship didn't stop. So then the Navy started shooting at it, and then no one really knows what happened after that, because I think the Venezuela says that the cruise ship rammed into the ship that was shooting, but then the cruise ship, I guess, company says that was the Venezuelan ship ran into it. But whatever happened is the Venezuelan military ship sank, and then they had to rescue the 40 crew members. And then the cruise ship apparently had no passengers, so it wasn't quite a COVID cruise ship. It was just like crew on, they said.
Yeah.
But it just seems like a movie. If you read the few articles of it, it seems like if all this COVID stuff wasn't happening, that it would be like a huge story. Everyone would be talking about it because it would be like, well, it's such a weird thing to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there's another possibility that because Venezuela's been added to the narco watch list, or they're like some new terror, trying to connect them with terrorist groups and the narco trafficking.
Right.
That maybe they thought it was some kind of a spy ship, even though it was a huge cruise ship. I guess they didn't know what it was doing around there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's just a mystery. We don't know what kind of espionage is going on.
Well, if it wasn't for our media coming out with all this coronavirus virus thing, we would know what the mystery was.
Mm-hmm.
We know all that already, but we don't know because everything else is happening.
And you have to dig for articles on it. It's like you can't even find many North American outlets covering it.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But they're covering it all over the world.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Other than North America, so they have some schemes here, and this is where the media's in on this one. Whatever, whether the virus is real or not, or whether whatever, it's just it's a media hype that's around it.
Yeah, true. I agree with you.
Because I guess you could say that there is a possibility the virus is real, but it doesn't have the effect. Like all their models were off. All the predictions were off. So. And I don't buy it that they're saying the only reason that the predictions were off was because everyone did a good job on social distancing and staying at home, but I don't think I buy that.
No, not really.
Because everyone has to go out eventually. You're gonna have to, and everyone goes to the same grocery store. Like every neighborhood only has a few grocery stores.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and they're all open. Fast food.
Yeah. Some of the Chinese stores are open.
Mm-hmm.
They're always open when other stores are closed and all that kind of stuff.
Now they've done something to your phone. They're either throttling you or maybe your phone goes into a different mode because we've been on the show for a while.
Yeah, it's 9:08 right now.
Yeah, say a few more words. Yeah, it's almost like they have you into a like a robot voice. You sound like a character out of Star Wars right now.
May the force be with you, Daniel.
Yeah, so we'll plan to be back for May 4th when the economy reopens and everything goes back to good times.
Yeah, I hope so. I just hope everything goes back to relative normal. But I think a lot of these government policies or rules or laws are going to still be in effect.
Yeah.
For a lot of things.
If the dark side takes over, but there's still a chance that the light could that the Jedi could win, and then you defeat the Empire.
Yeah.
And that there's still a bright side.
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back.
Or the Rise of Skywalker. It could be.
Rise of Skywalker.
We'll see. We have a few choices here. Will it be Phantom Menace? Will it be?
I hope President Trump is the head guy.
Yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, or he could be Darth Vader, and then he turns on the Empire at the end.
At the end,
and saves the day on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Reborn. Well, it was all supposed to be opening next week, because remember it was going to be Easter. It was going to all reopen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because if this is Good Friday, then by Easter Monday, it should be Jesus is reborn from the ashes, and everything reopens. But we're not in that. We're not in that reality right now.
No, we're in these false reality.
We're into an extended lockdown, but with the extended lockdown, it does give more opportunity to do some more shows, so we can come back for Angry Beaver Radio at a later date.
No problem.
Words, yeah. So, Mike, it was good talking to you. Remember, at times like this, seeking the truth is an essential service, and so is Easter Bunny. So, decide which side you're on.
Yeah, I know what side I'm on.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. I just trying to. I can't do that sign very well. Oh, there we go.
We're all in this together.
There we go.
The Vulcan Death Grip. We're fighting an invisible enemy. So as long as we can get through it.
That's what President Trump calls it, the invisible enemy.
Put on your masks. Get some essential service cannabis. You got beer stores open. You got cigarette stores open. Junk food.
All the stuff
you need.
Harm to your body that's open.
We didn't get to do our WrestleMania breakdown, but it wasn't that fun of a show because there was no audience. Didn't have quite the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, they had some good moments in the WrestleMania.
Yeah. Always a few good moments.
Few good moments, yeah. But some predictable ones, yeah.
They were trying. You could tell the guys were trying hard, but it's just not the same atmosphere without the crowd, without the energy.
Yeah, but in AEW, what they do is they have other wrestlers around the city.
Yeah, I have seen that. It does seem like a VIP. It does give at least a little something because they can still cheer. They can yell things out.
Yeah, and Jericho was one of the commentators.
Nice. Oh, now your phone is snapped back into normal, so maybe they like when we talk about wrestling.
Really?
They could have been throttling us.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt
We're
it.
on the wrong topic.
We're off the wrong topic. Yeah, and I saw Billy Gunn there, too, as well.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot more appearances now showing up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So what we could do is we can get more into that in the next show, and we'll talk talk about where everything's at.
Exactly, yeah, for sure.
All right, so this is Daniel and Mike. We'll see you later for Angry Beaver Radio. Signing out.
Have a good evening, everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Word out.
Word out.
Hold up.